All right, friends, it's T, and I'm back with another new video. It's on Jason Blog again, bro. Our favorite YouTuber gonna do a reaction video to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness slave himself, the lifting slave, Jason Blah. So let's see what Blah has to say. Blah says we cannot separate size and strength. Okay. Yes, you can separate size and you can separate strength, and there's different types of things that cause size, and there's different things that will cause strength, and I'll explain this in the video.
You cannot fully separate size and strength. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blah here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today.
You can. One of the reasons your body goes through a repair and a remodeling is because you did something vigorously, which could cause possibly a more severe injury if you were to go heavier. That's the problem. And so you need to your exercise needs to be geared towards exercise induced muscle damage, so that you get stronger, so that you're resilient from getting injured. That's the whole point. But the problem with these guys lifting, these like power lifters, they do very short repetitions. There's not enough repetitions, and then they are adapted to these weights. They don't do a lot. They shy away from getting muscle damage, because muscle damage protects you from getting injured. That's the whole point. But if you don't grow any muscles and you just keep lifting heavier and heavier, if you get an adaptation in lifting heavier in motor unit recruitment, in these androgen receptors, and skyrocketing your testosterone by lifting heavy, to lift a heavy weight, then you are open to getting injured. So the whole basis of getting DOMs and getting exercise-induced muscle damage is to do these exercises as you move up, to adapt to them by getting a relative amount of muscle damage so that your muscles can rebuild bigger and stronger. But again, as a power lifter, your exercise can be geared towards exercise-induced muscle damage, providing you focus a lot on the eccentric movement and doing high repetition work. That's the whole point. And now that you move up to a heavier weight, you'll be unaccustomed, untrained doing that heavier weight, but you'll still be stronger because the previous weight made your muscles stronger because they went through a repair and a remodeling. That is the whole point. Why do you think these asshole people online are all getting injured lifting a heavy weight? Because they never went through the motions, the steps. You understand me? So can you separate lifting heavy from building muscles? Yeah. But you come in doing 1 or 2 reps or 3 or 5 by 5, or doing like 3 reps or 1 rep, RPMs, whatever. You understand me, bro? That's not enough to cause micro injuries to the muscle. So you never really went through the motions. Yeah. And then here's another thing. The fact that you're an endurance athlete now, coming in often to the gym, you're adapted, you're not doing a whole lot going on there. You're an endurance athlete, and so you're loading glycogen in the muscle. That's all you're doing, gaining weight, which is horrendously bad for you. Yeah.
And look, when these come up, we are talking about in general. We're not talking about the occasional, extremely rare genetic.
If you think Blaha is not watching my videos, look at his last feed. He says he's going to work out once a week now. People were used to scream at me on my old channel, oh, you don't want us to exercise. I never said I don't want you to exercise. I said the reason why you want to come in a week later is because the shortest time your muscles can repair and remodel is 1 week. Look, the very first time you ever come into the gym and you lift, you get this damage. Everybody does, okay? Untrained muscles, untrained first training, satellite cell fusion, hypertrophy, okay, dude? Like it says there in fucking nuclei, overload precedes hypertrophy, not lost on detraining. So you come in, you get this damage, you were totally untrained. I mean, you were a person that never lifted. You just went into the gym and you trained. I'm not talking being untrained to lifting a certain fucking exercise as a trained athlete. I'm talking you came in totally untrained. Okay, so you got this damage. You understand me? You're protected now. You're protected. You're not gonna get any injuries now lifting those weights, even going a little bit heavier. But if you go maximally much heavier, you're going to get injured because you didn't go through repair and remodeling with every bout of exercise. That's the problem. Blaha he doesn't train properly. That's why you have to, that whole week you have to go through a repair and a remodeling. It takes a week to repair modeling. But when you came in the first time, it took 14 days. But after that, it rapidly repairs and remodels a lot faster now. So the shortest period of time is 7. So when you're reading these things on Google and it says, well, this guy writes me, says, it takes 14 days. No, it took 14 days the first time you came in the gym. But after that, if you read science, it tells you it now repairs and remodels a lot faster. I can bring it up in here if you want, man. It's in my community section. Read it. I put it there. It's always with the eccentric exercise stuff. It's in there. Read it.
Freak. Okay, because I promise you, you're not them. Like, just statistically, you're not that person. Because if you were, you would have hit a 500 squat your first year in the gym while weighing 175 pounds.
See, he's all about being skinny and weak and lifting a heavy weight. You understand me? By adapting to lifting heavy weights. And then when these guys destroy their bodies, their joints and their body and everything, because they never incorporated exercise-induced muscle damage for every step to protect their bodies from getting any more like severe damage or wearing out of joints or anything like that, then they get fucked in the end. Get it? Like everybody else.
Okay? So if that's not you, then don't worry about it. Like, this video will still apply to you. So that being said,
that's why real bodybuilders will always be stronger than power lifters. If you ever meet a real bodybuilder, he's going to be the strongest motherfucker that you've ever seen. A guy that actually incorporated exercise-induced muscle damage with lifting. If you incorporate those two, you're going to be the strongest motherfucker out there. I guarantee you, you are going to destroy people in arm wrestling. You're going to destroy people in lifting, a whole bunch of stuff. A wide array of things. You're going to be the fastest runner because you're going to have more type 2 muscle fibers. You're going to be calibrated to move faster. You're going to have more nuclei. Nuclei, they enhance your performance. They enhance you. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why you go through exercise-induced muscle damage. Do not leave it out. Incorporate it in your fucking lifting regime, dude. Get it?
This topic comes up, and I think there's a lot of confusion because people see bodybuilders, and then who maybe aren't at a certain strength level, and they'll see powerlifters or strength athletes who are. And
with FanDuel, build a same-game parlay when you're
10% of our strength. The rest of our strength for the 99.
He's lying because here's another thing. He injects strength in him, and then he lifts on all these people. They're trying to show you, look, I can't go back to the year 1999 and show you what I did and how I built my body and did all these things. Because I did it in one shot, and then I never went back to a gym. I moved away, and I never went to a gym anymore for more than 10, 15 years or something. I started going back to the gym, I think it was around 2014 or 2015. And I only went there because I was trying to rehabilitate myself because I ended up with some problems, some nerve damage and whatever. It's the only reason I ever went back to a gym. But I was out of a gym for more than a decade and a half, bro. Get it? I never went to a gym, and I still look like a bodybuilder walking around. I was still strong. I could still squat 500 and lift heavy weight and do a bunch of stuff without practicing and going to a gym. You understand me? That's the difference. So people trying to bring up some lifting stuff that I did in some parody videos or lifting I did in my videos. Remember, I'm suffering from stenosis and fucking nerve damage. But yet I can still lift weights without practicing. I could still lift heavy shit, bro. Get it? But I don't know about other people.
9.9% of the.
Because if you build more myofibrillars, then that strength is permanent. It stays there. Like the nuclei. When they say you gain more nuclei, they're permanent. If the nuclei are permanent and they enhance you, then that must mean that what? That strength is permanent too, that you gained with the nuclei.
Population, barring some rare freaks like John Hack, is a function of your muscle cross-sectional area relative to insertion points and limb lengths. Okay? So much so And then I'm going to discuss why it appears there's the illusion of otherwise. All right, so much so that when it's put in a lab, there have been studies done to where they can go to national level powerlifting meets, and the researchers have taken a bunch of random competitors, run them through a DEXA scan, and based on calculations in the DEXA scan, just measuring the physical muscle mass and limb lengths, they can determine how they're going to total. In other words, they can take those 10 people and determine in order which one's going to have the highest total and rank them 1 to 10 with at least a 90% success rate. This has been done in multiple studies. Okay?
I have no clue what he's talking about. No clue.
And so much so to the point where I've heard at least one expert say, why do we need to bother with powerlifting meets? Why don't we just put all the competitors in a DEXA scan and let that determine the winner? Ooh. Now,
You know the problem with powerlifting? You don't even remember the last names that were in powerlifting. Want to know why? Because they dropped off. Why do powerlifters, all these powerlifting people, drop off early out of the sport? Because they destroyed themselves. That's why. They got injured. They got destroyed. They got so many injuries. Like Blaha, he used to complain in his videos. Remember how many injuries he gets? Want to know why? Because he's so weak. Look how skinny he is. Did he build any muscle? No, bro. He didn't build any muscle. Get it? Because his training, he never incorporated exercise-induced muscle damage with the powerlifting. So he never built any muscle, bro. Get it? Because I try to explain this. Steroids do not build muscles. But if you take steroids and your training is geared towards exercise-induced muscle damage training, then you will build muscle at the same time. You will get stronger, physically stronger. Not, I injected strength in my ass called steroids so I can lift a heavy weight, on a weak frame. Get it?
people say, how can that be? That can't be. You see these different people. So you take John Hack aside, and you take aside this mythical person somewhere. Because people are like, but this guy over here, he benches 450 at 155 pounds or whatever. But okay.
Yeah, that's so gay. That's so gayishy. What is this? 150 pounds. I bench 400 for a couple reps. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is such bullshit lifting. It's just garbage. These people are small and weak. They didn't do anything. They just got better at lifting the weight. They left out the exercise-induced muscle damage training, and they went for an adaptation and getting better at lifting these weights. These recruiting motor units and androgen receptors for what?
And I do remember there was one guy who did have like a legit 400 bench. It was at a lighter weight, but he was short, and the guy had massive pecs. And the guy couldn't squat or deadlift. He didn't have a lot of strength in other places. He was all chest and good triceps. But I would have said, but that guy being the freak that he was, he still had enormous pecs. It was still size equal strength. The guy literally had almost Arnold Schwarzenegger pecs on a 160-pound guy.
Oh, whatever, man. 160-pound guy, and he had Arnold Schwarzenegger's pec. Arnold Schwarzenegger weighed over 250. What are you talking about? What pecs? What pecs are at 160? Nothing. Unless they're blown up with some glycogen, these fake glycogen muscles, because you're an endurance athlete now.
So therein lies the problem with that thing, because the pecs are the primary mover on the bench. And here's what I would say. Yeah, the guy hit a 400 or 410, but had he just gotten bigger everywhere, he probably would have benched 500.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
So understand that. And the other thing to think about, people don't get when you look at some of these lifters, like, well, how is this guy so strong versus this bodybuilder, except that the bodybuilder's not maxing?
How is he so strong and not this bodybuilder? If he was a real bodybuilder and he moved for exercise-induced muscle damage and not sarcoplasmic training, then yeah, he would be stronger, right? He would be stronger, and he wouldn't be susceptible to even getting injuries. He would be stronger, but that's not what their training is geared towards. They take steroids, bro. All of these people, they're fake.
And if he did go max out,
He's going to try to correlate, well, he's stronger than this bodybuilder because the bodybuilder is focused on sarcoplasmic training because he's training for what? He's still taking steroids, which is going to give him strength to lift a heavy weight, but he's moving for repetitions and he's coming in often. He's adapted to load more of this glycogen in his muscles for a show. He's going to go on a stage, dude. He doesn't care what he gained there. He's going on a stage. You understand me? He's not a real bodybuilder. He's a fucking guy on a stage posing. And then you get this power lifter, okay, he's lifting a heavy weight. He too is adapted. He's lifting a heavy weight. He didn't build any muscle, bro. And he's going to say, well, he's stronger because he can lift a little bit heavier than the bodybuilder on steroids. The power lifter on steroids, it focuses on lifting the heaviest weight, and the bodybuilder focuses on pumping as much glycogen in his fucking muscles, these phony muscles, so that he can perform on stage. What did you expect? They're fake. If it was a real bodybuilder, he would be focused on EIMD training. That's the whole point.
you'd be surprised. Like, how many pro bodybuilders have you seen that when put...
Look, I'm a real bodybuilder. I built my body in the past, how I built myself. I was focused on EIMD training. That's how I did it. That's what people ask you. How the fuck are you so strong? They go, how the fuck you could take two guys' arms down in arm wrestling? You could do all these things. And you can run so fast. How are you able to do these things? Because you have to move for EIMD training. You understand me? It is astronomically hard to build muscle. It's a training you have to learn. You have to learn that training. You don't know how to do it. That's your problem. You don't have experience because you're not experienced lifters. Like Blajas, he's not an experienced lifter. He's never done EIMD training. And yes, there is such a thing as exercise-induced muscle damage training. I posted it. It's in my community section. I talk about it all the time, bro. There is such a thing. Read NCBI PubMed, exercise-induced muscle damage training, bro.
to the test can bench 500 pounds or can incline 400. We've all seen them do it.
Yeah, even they tell you in this. I don't know if I have it up here right now. No, I think I took it down. Fuck. The last one that I just looked at something right now. I forgot the name of it. Exercise induced damage. I don't know if I can bring it up. Maybe I'll post it in the community section. They talk about this damage, but they talk about other ways of getting hypertrophy. But yeah, I don't know. Fuck, man. I wish I didn't take it down. Or maybe I have it on my other phone. We'll have to look here. Give me a second. I don't know if I posted it in there. Sometimes I put it here. I put it in my other phone. Hold on a second. Yeah, maybe it's here. Here it is. I think it's protective effect. No, it's not this protective effect. Just a second. Preconditioning. Nope, not. Sorry about that. I got cut off there because I was trying to bring that stuff up. So yeah, let me bring it up. I found it. It's called. There's another. You could go forever with this stuff. Okay, so does exercise induce muscle damage? So we know there's a training called exercise-induced muscle damage. Now, does it play a role in skeletal muscle hypertrophy? Man, it's obvious it plays a role in hypertrophy. This is obvious. All right? But they're going to tell you that there are other ways to get hypertrophy, but you're not going to understand what they're talking about. So then in your mind, you're like, oh, there's another way to get hypertrophy. You're not understanding what hypertrophy means. It just means something's getting bigger. Okay, so exercise-induced muscle damage training, exercise-induced muscle damage, occurs primarily from the performance of what? Unaccustomed exercise. It is what? Primarily from the performance of unaccustomed exercise. However, it can be from something else as well. If you get experience, you'll figure out how to bring this damage back by doing something else, not just unaccustomed. But okay, we know that unaccustomed exercise and its severity is modulated by the type. Okay, let's say you're a power lifter. You're powerlifting. So you are unaccustomed to doing 245-pound plates, but now you do them. But you only do 1 rep or 2 reps. You understand me? Or you do a 5x5. That is not enough to cause exercise-induced muscle damage in the muscle. So there's no repairing and remodeling. So what happens is your exercise now becomes what? It becomes you getting better at adapting to lifting that weight. And so now you move to 2 45-pound plates on each side, and you practice at lifting that, but you only do like 3 reps or 5x5. You never did let's say you never did 10 by 12 or 20 by 12. Let's say, here's the thing. What would be the difference between a guy that did the same exercise? Let's say there's a guy on the left and the guy on the right. A guy does 5x5 powerlifting, does all 5x5s all the time, moving up in weight. But the guy on the left of him, he does 20 by 12. Okay, 20 by 12. And then he takes a whole week off to repair and remodel so he doesn't retard the growth. He takes a week off, he repairs and remodel, he comes back bigger and stronger. But the power lifter, he's not getting bigger, but he is getting stronger at lifting. He's getting better. And then one day they get up to 800, 900 pounds each, both of them. The other guy's much bigger and stronger now. And then the other guy, he tries to lift the 900 pounds and then he fucking tears his fucking biceps off and all that and everything. But the other guy to the left never ever gets an injury or a tear. But this guy to the right constantly is getting injured. He's getting hamstring pulls, tears. His muscles are getting torn and everything. Why is that? Because he never went through exercise-induced muscle damage to protect him from what? From getting injured. That's the whole point of exercise-induced muscle damage. It's there to protect you from any more damage, which would cause you to get a severe injury. That's the whole point. You understand me? It builds you up to be bigger and stronger. So we have to manipulate it to make us bigger and stronger. We have to manipulate this exercise to do that. Because the first time, it'll protect you from any more damage. So, yeah, it'll protect you from any more damage, but you'll be stronger from the last bout. Get it? Anyways, I don't know, maybe if you understand that, you don't understand that. So severity is modulated by the type of intensity and duration of the training. That's what I try to explain to you. The intensity and duration of the training, that's what modulates it. It's primarily from the performance of unaccustomed exercise, but its severity is modulated by the type of intensity and duration. So what is the intensity and duration of a power lifter? See what I mean? Although concentric and isometric actions contribute, they could contribute because they're part of it. You're moving your arm, right? You're moving your body in that direction. The greatest damage to muscle tissue is seen with what? Eccentric exercise. That's the whole point in the power lifter. He kind of forgoes the eccentric part. That's why he never gets bigger and stronger. He gets fatter from eating carbohydrates, eating an artificial diet, but he's not getting bigger and stronger like myofibrillar growth. You understand me? Because he's always throwing the weight down at the bottom. But the guy on the left of him, he's putting it down. He's using the eccentric part. He's doing everything. An EIMD training, bro. Get it? So where muscles are forcibly lengthened, damage can be specific to just a few molecules to tissue to result in large tears in the sarcolemma, basolemma, and supportive connective tissue, and inducing injury to contractile elements and these cytoskeleton. Although EIMD can have detrimental short-term effects on markers of performance and pain, it has been hypothesized that the associated skeletal muscle inflammation and increased protein turnover are necessary for long-term what? Long-term hypertrophic adaptations. Get it, bro? Yeah. But then they're going to tell you a theoretical basis for this belief has been proposed. Thereby, the structural changes associated with EIMD influences gene expression, resulting in the strengthening of what? Strengthening of the tissue, and thus protection of the muscle against what? Further injury. Get it, broski? Protection from further injury. That's why these powerlifters are always getting injured, because they're fucking weak. So other researchers have had questions about this hypothesis. What hypothesis? noting that hypertrophy can occur in relative absence of muscle damage. I didn't say hypertrophy couldn't occur without muscle damage. I'm talking about the protective effect against further injury by doing what? Gene expression, structural changes in muscle. Get it? It repairs and remodels a lot stronger. Now, can muscles hypertrophy without damage? Yeah, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. There's two types. Get it? I don't have to read this whole thing. You already understand it. It's a training, bro. Here at the bottom, it's a training. Look, there's two types of hypertrophy, okay? If you don't believe me, there's two types of hypertrophy, broski. Get it? What are the two types of hypertrophy?
According to Medical News Today, muscular hypertrophy, or muscle growth, refers to an increase in muscle mass. There are two types of muscular hypertrophy: myofibrillar, which is an increase in myofibrils, and sarcoplasmic, which is an increase in muscle glycogen storage.
There you go. That's what they're talking about. You understand me? That there are other ways that you can hypertrophy muscles, but that doesn't mean that they're getting stronger. Glycogen doesn't make your muscles stronger. Get it? Doesn't add to that density, the myofibrillars. It's really simple, bro. If you can't understand it, I'm sorry. I can't explain it to you. I can't go any further explaining anything to you because people are too stupid to understand these things. I'm sorry if you're stupid. It's not my fault.
Has this not been demonstrated over and over? Just because they choose to do a bunch of light pump work doesn't mean they're not capable of moving some big weight. Okay? Because they have the muscle to do so. And then people say, what about this power?
No, they don't have the muscle to do so, to move those weights. What they have are steroids. That's why they're all taking steroids, or they adapted to lifting a heavy weight. Get it? By going in the gym often, and they forego the exercise-induced muscle damage. That's the difference. So can you separate lifting a heavy weight, getting stronger at lifting a heavy weight, and building muscle? Of course, it can be separated. It can be separated. See what I mean? It can be separated.
Well, maybe the powerlifter doesn't have biceps, and he's not ripped, and he doesn't have sight in him.
Let me tell you that these things are both based on adaptations, except for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's not based on an adaptation. It's based on glycogen loading. Now, the two things that are based on adaptations is lifting a heavy weight. That's based on motor unit recruitment, adapting by recruiting motor units, and exercise-induced muscle damage is an adaptation in a repair and a remodeling of that muscle. They're both separate. They're both separate. But they both will give you strength in lifting a heavy weight. You will eventually always get there in lifting a heavy weight. But the difference will be that the guy who went through EIMD training and lifting a heavy weight will be always stronger than the guy that just adapted to lifting heavy weights. He'll always be physically and everything just stronger than that dude. And not susceptible to getting any injuries like Blaha.
Enhancement in the show muscles. Okay? Keep in mind how many bodybuilders have fake muscle, especially in those show muscles that really set them off. How many of
They do have fake muscles, sarcoplasmic.
them had 3-4 inches of fake muscle in their arms and shoulders? You see where
They do. They have a lot of fake muscles called sarcoplasmic, dude, like Blaha.
we're going? Well, yeah, that's not going to make them stronger. How many powerlifters don't train the bicep? This is why I'm having to play catch up. Too many years and not enough direct arm work. But I'm pretty big everywhere.
His exercise is not based on exercise-induced muscle damage, but Blaha does say he did a live stream the other day. He says he's going to lift 1 week, just once a week now. I don't know how he's going to do that, how he's going to accomplish that, if that's based on EID, if that's just a lazy way of lifting and resting, or is that based on EIMD training? I'm not sure.
Where else, right? So, that's the thing to think about. So you have those factors, but then when you see them next to the strength athlete, you realize they're actually smaller. It's just because that bodybuilder is, whatever, usually short. Most pro bodybuilders are really short. I've walked in a room with IFBB pros and I towered over them, and I'm not a really tall guy. Hey. And then you see them next to the big guys, you know what I mean? So people are, how come this guy and he doesn't look like that? I remember you saw those, and you saw those strong men next to Jay Cutler, and he looked like a child. Next to a lot of those world's strongest man competitors.
Look like a child. He just looks blown up with a bunch of fake muscle.
And next to like that one Russian Sergey, when he was benching over 700 pounds. And then you realize they're literally bigger. They're taller, they're wider, they're thicker.
They may be bigger, but they didn't build any muscles. They just got bigger by eating a bunch of carbohydrates. Everybody will tell you online in these chat rooms. They'll say, "Oh, you want to get big? Eat carbs." Why? Because they don't know how to get big. Because they don't understand anything about bodybuilding, bro. Neither does Blaha.
They have more muscle in their frames. They just don't have those same proportions. They're not lean. But under there, they've got probably more lean mass. Of course, they move more weight. I mean, do you not think, Brian Shaw is bigger than any Mr. Olympia competitor?
Brian Shaw's tall, man. He's tall. He's got a big frame. Is he big? Yeah, he's fat because he eats a lot of carbs.
He is, right? See him in a room with him.
He's just as fat as Eddie Hall. They're all fat because they eat carbohydrates all day. That didn't build any muscle. Carbs don't build muscles, dude. What are you talking about?
Looks like freaking Kingpin. Okay?
Yeah, Kingpin, another fat slob that eats a lot of carbs and injects strength in his body called fucking steroids. Man, come on, bro. You think we're stupid or something, Blaha?
So there's your problem, and then here's what it comes down to. Then a lot of it's still just the big movements. When it comes to the isolation movements, what do we know in the lab? All those other factors go out the window. When we lock people into a device and they do a curl or a leg extension, when they can't move or use any technique, the only factor that matters, there's a direct correlation between the size of the muscle and the force it produces. Every single time.
The size of the muscle and the force it produces, there's a correlation. No, there isn't. Because if you get sarcoplasmic muscles, there's no correlation there. There's no correlation. He's lying. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy does not make you stronger. So if you get a bigger muscle through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, there's no correlation through strength. That I just told you before, you adapted to lifting this weight through motor unit recruitment.
It is just 100%. Nothing else even really seems to matter. So a big quad will produce a stronger leg extension when you're locked in and can't.
It is impossible to damage muscles with a 5x5, but you will get better at lifting that weight. But if a guy does more than 5x5 and he goes through a repair and a remodeling and keeps increasing the weight, will he not get stronger and bigger and get thicker? Yeah. But if you eat fucking carbohydrates all day and adapt to these weights, be a lazy lifter like Blaha, a 5x5 program, you're never going to build any muscle. The only muscle you're going to build are sarcoplasmic muscles because you're eating glycogen and you're coming often to the gym to adapt to being good at lifting these weights. That has nothing to do with EIMD training. That is not exercise-induced muscle damage training whatsoever. Nah, man. They're not the same. Nope.
Use any technique. A bigger bicep and a locked-in machine curl where you're strapped to the thing can curl more weight than a bicep an inch smaller.
No, that's not true. No, he can, man. If you adapted to lifting these weights, a heavier weight, let's say your muscle got bigger through glycogen, but you adapted. No, not really. And here's the thing: even though you have let's say your muscle got big through glycogen, through this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and you got good at lifting these weights. Remember, it's not based on myofibrillar growth, so it's not permanent strength. So if you go away for a while and you still have a big arm, that strength will go away. You won't be able to curl that fucking weight again. Get it? But the guy who actually did EIMD training, He's going to always be good at lifting that heavy weight. He should technically be good all the time at lifting that weight. Even if he goes away for a long period of time, he should be able to come back and lift it because it's permanent. It's based on an adaptation through exercise-induced muscle damage and not an adaptation in recruitment, motor unit recruitment. That's the difference.
Single time. Again, barring for things like arm lengths and stuff. But if you change the moment arm on the device to normalize it for the forearm or the shin length, it literally comes down to only the muscle size matters. And this is what's been found in the lab. So when people say size doesn't equal strength, it really does. Or at the
size, yeah, myofibrillar size does equal strength, but size does not equal strength. Look, I'm talking about size will equal, if you gain muscle, then you'll get permanent strength. But size, does size equal strength? No, absolutely not. Because in humans, it's known you don't need to be big to lift a heavy weight. He's lying to you. First, he talks about a guy being 150 pounds, 70 pounds, bench pressing, whatever, 400, or lifting a heavy weight. And then he says a size equals strength. What are you talking about? It does not. It does not. Because I've seen skinny people lifting a heavy weight, okay? But then again, I don't know, because the world is so confused. People are injecting strength too, steroids. So we don't know what the fuck's going on out there.
very least, it equals your strength potential. So the message of that is, if you want to get strong, you should probably really work on getting really jacked. Okay?
Yeah, but sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is not associated with strength. So if you get jacked through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, you're going to get stronger? No. You see what I mean? But will you get better at lifting these weights? Yeah. Now, if you really truly want to get strong, then you're going to have to focus on exercise-induced muscle damage, which he is not that channel. He is not that kind of channel. You understand me? He's not that kind of channel. He doesn't do exercise-induced muscle damage. I'm the only guy on the internet that does exercise-induced muscle damage training. Nobody else does. Nobody. I did it, and I don't do it much anymore. I did it in the past when I wanted to get where I wanted to go, but I don't do it anymore. Maybe I'll do it again. I said in my video, maybe in a new channel. I don't know.
You want to get really jacked, you should probably get stronger and use some progressive overload.
Then he says, if you want to get jacked, do some progressive overload and whatever. Without incorporating EIMD training, it's useless. It becomes useless. It's temporary and it's fake. The muscles are fake and the lifts are fake because they'll go away within 10 days when you leave the gym. It's a known fact, bro. Look it up. Google it, bro.
If you want to be really aesthetic, you need to work on your proportion.
How fast does that phony strength go away? Let's see.
According to Greatest, for most people, strength loss occurs after 2 to 3 weeks of inactivity, says Molly Galbraith, a certified strength and conditioning specialist.
See that? And 2 to 3 weeks. They say within 10 days or 2 to 3 weeks, your strength is gone because that strength was not built through myofibrillar. If you build real myofibrillars, you get stronger. Look.
According to MyProtein Canada, your larger muscle fibers will adapt to be able to produce greater force, resulting in more strength and speed. Therefore, myofibrillar hypertrophy is the most functional form of muscle growth.
Exactly. And what is myofibrillar growth based on? EIMD training, exercise-induced muscle damage training, broski. See what I mean? That's what people, they don't understand. So, yeah. Anyways, let's finish this video.
To get lean. Okay? This is all pretty straightforward, but this is what the real world shows, the research shows, when you really look at it close and you understand what it is that you are looking at.
Yeah, if you understand what you're looking at, but he doesn't understand anything about training. He's not a master of lifting or training, bro. He doesn't understand even how to bring this stuff back. Me, I could do a whole channel on exercise-induced muscle damage and explain to you even how to bring it back, what to look for. I can coach you through it so that you don't have to go through all the the bullshit in the beginning, trying to figure it all out. See what I mean?
Okay. All right, guys.
A good coach can direct you in these things so you can avoid all these pitfalls. Yeah. He can't do that because he doesn't have that experience. He sucks as a coach and everything else. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Tell us what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. See you in the next video. I don't know what else to say there, dude.